riding on the clouds, shining like the sun. At the trumpet call, lift your voice. It's the year of Jubilee. Out of Zion's hill, salvation comes. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds.
Shalom, and thank you for clicking on the link for today's teaching at Ahavah Fellowship. Today's message is one that really will speak to the body about how the enemy uses occult witchcraft against the chosen people. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And there are following segments. Please do click on those additional segments so you get all the full revelation on this teaching. Please do enjoy, and I'll see you soon.
The 3-year cycle of the Torah portions you can teach. As many of you know, the Torah portion cycle is meant to be a full 3-year cycle, but we stick to the 1-year cycle. And even that, we branch out of that because really and truly there's much more the Father has to say than just Torah portions. Hence why I say I intersperse the Torah portion teachings with prophetic teaching, biblical teaching that you need, regardless of what the Torah portion for that week is. Today's Torah portion, however, is one that is important for the entire body, the Kohelim, to know. Torah portion number 40, Balaq. Numbers chapter 22, verse 2 and through to 25, verse 9, which we have already read. Filled from the beginning to the end that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Everything is made for the glory of the Most High, and He has filled it with His own creation that is made in the image of Yah. From the beginning of time, Father created us in His own image. Hasatan has come down here with an assignment to, as it were, remake us into His own image. So from the very beginning of time, we see in the garden that there was an entity that we know as the serpent. And the serpent came and deceived Eve. And from the moment that Eve passed on the message to her husband, and her husband chose to believe the message of the serpent rather than the message of the Most High, we now surrendered ourselves and our obedience and our authority to the serpent. So from the beginning of time, the serpent has been recreating man in his own image. In every ancient culture, whether you go to Machu Picchu, whether you go to the Aztecs, whether you go to the Egyptians, whether you go to the Mayan Indians, one symbol rules above all symbols. We can go to the Far East, go to Nineveh, go to Babylon, we can go to China. One symbol rules above all symbols. In this country, we now see it. The Queen never, ever takes a drive without this symbol being on the car. If she comes out the car, the Queen ensures you know your job. And she has one man whose job is to make sure this one symbol follows her. He gets paid to do nothing else but to ensure this one symbol tracks with her. And that symbol is a symbol of the serpent, stroke dragon. This symbol is everywhere in every ancient culture. The serpent permeates throughout history. He's been here from the beginning and he's making sure I'm going to be here to the very end. And you will all bow before me. You will kill for me. So we see pharaohs with the serpent on the forefront of their crown dresses. If we go to the South Americas, we see all the temples, and the greatest temple has a serpent running down it. And at a particular point in the year, when the moon and the sun are at the right angle, boom, you see the serpent coming down this pyramid. All of them worship Quetzalcoatl, manifestation of serpent in man, God. The serpent God has been worshipped in every culture around the world. But does anybody ever connect the dots? It goes back to the garden. It goes back to Hasatan. And this presentation will show you how even that is coming into today's teaching. The earth is the Lord and the fullness of it, and the world and they that dwell in it. And we must know that we belong to Him, and there is none other that we serve. We belong to Yahweh the Most High. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh as the waters cover the seas. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 14. Israel are meant to be the very light, the very embodiment of Yahweh on this earth. That's why the word Israel means princes who overcome. We are meant to be prevailers and we are meant to be overcomers. And Israel are meant to take up dominion in the earth. They may have begun as the least, but they will take over the entire earth. How do I know this? The prophecy of Daniel. The kingdom of Yahweh will come as a stone, destroying the very images and the remnants of all the previous empires in the world. But this rock that was hewn out of the mountain with our hands, Yeshua, his kingdom will take up dominion in the whole earth. Israel is meant to subdue the earth. But that sounds reminiscent of Genesis. Adam's mandate was that he was meant to take up dominion and subdue the earth. We are meant to finish what Daddy begun. We are all sons and daughters of Adam, if we walk according to obedience in Yahweh, which is what the children were learning this morning. So this, I really want to use as a preface before we get into the message for today. That we are meant to be empowered to take up authority on the earth. All of you are not powerless, you're powerful. Powerful. You are meant to walk in obedience with Yahweh, keeping his Torah, and in so doing, as we read today, no one can curse you. No witch, no warlock, no demon can put an incantation spell, smudge you. They cannot put anything on you because it won't work. It won't stick because you have Yahweh Shekinah over you. His glory is on you. It will not work. So the only way the enemy can get to curse you is the same way he did it with your forefather and foremother. Adam and Eve ended up cursing themselves by being obedient and trusting what the serpent told them. Did God really say he would die? By believing that stupidness and that error, that deception, they ended up cursing themselves and indeed all their progeny, which we are. So now we all die. Now we get sick. Now we get old. We never got old. We would never have gotten sick. But this is what happens when we believe the deception. The children of Israel, according to Numbers 22 that we read today, and I'm only using these images so that we can kind of get a picture, we can visualize it, because these words today are really powerful. The children of Israel, Numbers 22 verse 1, they set forward. I'm going to get very prophetic today, so I need you to stay with me. Make up your mind to go forward. Go. You cannot stay where you are. You cannot. You've got to keep pressing on forward. You've got to attain something. If you don't know what it is, spend time with Father. You'll soon start getting a revelation of what you're meant to become, what you're meant to do, what you can achieve, what you desire, what you want, what Father wants, what I can do. Make up your mind to go forward. The children of Israel set themselves forward and pitched their planes, or pitched in the plains of Moab on this side, Jordan by Jericho. And Balaq, the son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, wiped them out. Sichon, Og, giants, immense giants, I showed you before, over 14 foot tall. Man sleeps on a solid steel bed because the weight of it is so heavy, he needs a solid steel bed to keep him upright, to hold him up at nighttime. They killed them, they wiped them out. Israel would defeat all opposition. And the joke about the story is, Yahweh had told Israel, when you go to the territory of the Moabites, don't trouble them. Don't war with them. Don't mess with them. Leave them alone. Just pass through. Just keep on walking. There's going to be no strife between you and the Moabites. But the Moabites don't know that. The Moabites just hear, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, the Israelites are coming, oh my gosh. And they're getting themselves in a sweat like me right now. They're fretting. They hear Israel coming and they start to literally cap themselves. And this is what it's like when you turn up. When you turn up, you don't realize it and you may not see it. But those who serve darkness get extremely worried when you turn up. In fact, you make them start to, they don't feel comfortable. Because you don't realize when you walk, you have assigned to you a company of angels. So wherever you go, the kingdom goes with you. So whenever you go to certain places, don't be surprised when people start to treat you funny and playing up around with you and messing with you and upsetting you. And it's all of a sudden, it's like, why are we just at loggerheads? Why is there warfare going on between us? I've not done nothing to you. You didn't do anything. Your presence was enough to upset them. Your presence was enough to make them, I feel sick. I used to work at AT&T. Very first day on the job. I come in and I'm worried because it's my first day on the job. I'm nervous. I've got to another level in my career now, and I've got to really put my head down, and I've got to prove myself. Great opportunity. Thank you, Father. I'm so prayed up because it's my first day, and I want it to go on I want this career to be a good one. You know, I really, really want this job. I'm just praying, Father, make me like Daniel. Just make me an excellent spirit so I can be good to my employers. That was my mindset. I come into the office. I'm introduced to a number of people who will now be my team members. One of them, I notice, has a belt with a dragon, big buckle with a dragon on there. I was like, okay, you know, here's me in my nice three-piece suit. I just bought for this job. You know, I want to look dapper for my employer, and people are wearing satanic belt symbols. Okay, was wasting all this money. What was that for? And in the lunch break, I didn't realize this dude already discerned me. Oh, how are you? My name's Gary. You know, talking about careers. Pretty soon he moved it along to, do you go to church? I'm like, yeah, okay. I do. I'm very, you know, how do you? Oh, so you're reading? Oh, okay. Reading gives you away. Surprise, surprise. He quickly went into how he believes he's a pagan witch. He believes in the power of a warlock, etc. He practices it openly and is very much into it. Then it kind of made sense why his face and his skin looked the way it did. He looked like death warmed up. And I just thought, oh, it makes a whole lot of the buckle, okay. But I noticed the more I stayed in the office over the next few weeks, just days and weeks, he literally looked like his skin was peeling off his face. He looked like he was dying. Every day I saw the man, he looked like he was dying. I was not praying for him. I was not doing anything against him. You know, I just wanted to get on with the guys in the office. But he looked each day like he was getting worse and worse and worse. Then his character towards me changed from being open and talkable to almost a grimacing face, like excruciating. And I still remember I won't call his name, but I realized darkness and light don't mix together very well. And darkness, we began to have more direct conversations about the Word of God and the truth of God versus Satan, and his concepts are very opposite to mine, and you know how this kind of conversation will go. But it made me realize that darkness and light, we are at war with each other. We can never be friends. We can never be bosom buddies. It will be opposition from day one. I say that to let you know, darkness sees you coming a mile off, and darkness will be against you. I don't know whether he was praying spells and incantations because he was into that kind of stuff. Maybe he was, but you know what? I was blessed in my whole 2 years at AT&T, and then I moved on to Land Rover. So I want to say to you today, do stop thinking of yourself as just being by yourself. You are surrounded with a detail of angels that excel in strength, wisdom, and power for your defense.